Welcome to the 97th edition of the Sales Podcast, where we answer the question, is it a sin to CRM? Welcome back, my friends. This is Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host of the Sales Podcast. Can you believe we are on the 97th edition? Unbelievable. But I can tell that I'm recording this in December because the crud has befallen the Schaefer household. You know, my sister was supposed to come over from Orange County. She was bringing a big pot of gumbo, and her little son, my little nephew, had the throw-up bug, so she stayed home. And then we got it anyway. So I was like, at least I could have had some gumbo while we're taking care of sick kids. But hey, life must go on. Choke down some coffee, swallow a couple of cough drops, bust out the microphone, and get going on the Sales Podcast. Today we've got Jon Ferrara. Pretty cool dude. He is very active online, social media, and I ran across him and invited him on the show a while back. He is the inventor of Goldmine CRM. If you're not familiar with CRMs, it's a contact relationship manager or contact relationship manager. You've probably heard of Salesforce.com. They've kind of become the 800-pound gorilla in the hosted or the SaaS, software as a service space. But really what they did was take former desktop client or server-based applications like Goldmine or Act or Sage. Actually, they merged. I don't even know what else. Man, there's a ton. I mean, I've used Siebel, Onyx, Oracle. There's so many. So Jon was instrumental in really creating that whole segment of the marketplace. And they bought him out in 1999. And I'll let him tell his story, but he created CRMs because he saw that CRMs were a painful tool, that selling was broken, and he invented a tool to help them. But now, with the advent of social media and smartphones and always on, always connected networking and high-speed networks, he sees things again. He sees selling is broken. He sees people spending too much time in the CRM, and he is making it easier, better, more intuitive with his new platform called Nimble. So I don't want to say too much more. It was a great interview, great insight. Jon is full of energy, very optimistic about the future. It's great talking with somebody with such a proven track record that is still optimistic and sees a ton of opportunities ahead in the future. So with that said, today's funny, once again, is, kind of funny. It's from a second book I have of useless information. Why do I have all these books? I don't know. But today is a series of anagrams. I thought they were kind of funny. That's when you can take a word or a series of words and make up another word or series of words from the letters within that. So, and these were some famous names that you would obviously recognize, like Michael Jackson. His anagram is, so check jail, man. Ooh, that's kind of low. Mel Gibson, his is big lemons. And after a big series of hits, he has certainly made lemons for himself. The man, Captain Kirk, William Shatner, is an animal whistler. William Shatner's anagram is animal whistler. Go figure. And then the last but not least, and then this one kind of made me chuckle, Gerard Depardieu. I just read something. He talks about where he drinks something like 14 bottles of wine a day. That's unbelievable. But he says he does. So, isn't it funny that his anagram is dear, dear, rude pig? You can't make this stuff up. You just can't make it up. So let's jump in to the Sales Podcast Creed, which is, today is my day. I work diligently towards my goals, which are bigger than me. I bite off more than I can chew, because only then will I truly know my current limits, and surpassing them becomes my new goal for today. Through education, mastermind mentors, and bold, decisive action, today will be better than yesterday, and tomorrow will be better yet. I'm ready to produce. Now let's bring on Jon. Jon Ferrara, fellow SoCal resident and marketing automation / CRM guru. Welcome to the Sales Podcast. How are you?
I'm great, Wes. I'm really excited about being here with you and your audience today, talking about something that's near and dear to me, helping them grow their business by connecting to people that matter and turning connections into conversations and relationships into revenue.
Goodness gracious. I'm glad I'm recording that. I'm going to have to go back and type that out. Sounds like you've done this once or twice. I had to stop you a minute ago and turn the recorder on because I didn't, well, you're probably better than me, right? I go to the golf course and I use all my good shots on the driving range, and then I'm terrible on the course. But you had all this good stuff coming out, so I hope you didn't put it all on the driving range, so to say, right?
Well, they call me the Right Reverend Jon Ferrara. I've been teaching the same thing for 30 years. It seems like there's a renaissance in relationships. Sometimes I feel like Don Quixote because I've been teaching people the same thing for 30 years. Relationships matter. People buy from people they like, and they like people who know them. And, you got to get to know your customers before you even walk in the door. In the old days, we did that by going to their office and looking at their walls and figuring out what we shared in common to break the ice. Today, we're doing it digitally.
Amen. So for those that don't know you, would you mind giving us a thumbnail sketch of who you are and what you do?
You bet. I've been involved in sales and marketing all my life. I started my life in computers, got a computer degree, and worked my way up through sales and sales management roles. In each of those roles, I saw that the sales process was broken, and this is back in the day of the daytimer. I don't know if you've ever had a daytimer, but we got leads on pieces of paper, and we cold called them and made notes in our daytimer, and I said, this isn't working. So I looked around, and I couldn't find a solution, and I built one. I called it Goldmine. And so back before there was a term SFA or CRM or market automation, Goldmine was all that for millions of small businesses. And today I'm back with Nimble because I believe that the sales process is still broken. I believe that sales and marketing are two different departments in most companies, and that the CRM is a place that salespeople go when they're beat to go there to go log what they did and who they did it with. But where we all live is in our inbox and now on the phone and in social. And it's just too dang hard to connect with people that matter. And Nimble is an intelligent relationship platform that automatically builds your contacts, logs your calls, updates who they are, and helps you to connect with the right person at the right time on the right channel with the right message to help you grow your business.
Shazam! Now, usually when I listen to podcasts, I listen to them at double speed, and but I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this at half speed. Are you from New York?
No, I'm born and raised in LA, man. But I'll tell you what, I've lived in New York for a year, and I lived in Dallas for 2 years, and I think I picked up a little drawl in Dallas, and I think I picked up a little bit of fast talking in New York. I'm a blend of my environment.
Very nice. So you created Goldmine. So when was this?
Goldmine was founded in 1989. I sold it in 1999. And back then, there wasn't CRM, there wasn't SFA, and there wasn't Outlook. So back then, all you had was network scheduling and email, but they weren't tied to who you're talking to, the contact. And I said that the heart of relationships is contact, calendar, and communication. This is where we all live. 90% of the business marketplace today live in Outlook, Address Book, or Google Contacts, or a spreadsheet. Did you know that there's 225 million global businesses and less than 1% use of CRM?
What?
Yes, sir. So basically, back in the Goldmine days, there wasn't a market for CRM, and there wasn't a market for networkable relationship management systems. I had to build the product and then go build the market for it. And I have a secret about how I did that on $5,000, no bank loans, no venture capital, never took a dime. We grew it out of an apartment, 2 kids wet behind the ears, and we basically did it by identifying the influencer of our core constituency in and around the areas of promise of our product. So what we did was we had a networkable relationship manager. We went after the person who sold the network. And back then, they were called Novell resellers because there wasn't Microsoft networking. And basically, if you wanted to network computers together and run network software, you had to buy Novell. And so I cold called every single Novell reseller in the country, and I got them to use Goldmine because people sell what they know, and they know what they use. And so they started using it. Then they started recommending it to their customers, and that's how we built an instant revenue stream without any marketing dollars, and basically bootstrapped Goldmine back in the day.
You mean you didn't just go on Shark Tank or Kickstarter and raise like $50 million because you look good and just it was all easy cheesy after that?
Well, there's a funny story about Shark Tank. Back in the day when I lived in Dallas, I worked for an enterprise network operating system company called Banyan. And Banyan was sold direct with guys in suits to enterprises, and they were getting their butt kicked by this little company out of Utah called Novell, who sold a work group solution that was affordable and easy to get started with. And they basically asked me to go start signing up these Novell resellers. And the top Novell reseller in Dallas was this guy named Mark Cuban. And so Mark was basically a Novell VAR, and I got him to be a Banyan VAR. And look where he's gotten. And interesting thing is Mark's one of our top investors in Nimble.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So it pays to have a good contact relationship management software and use it and stay in touch with your contacts for 20 years, doesn't it?
Well, Wes, I really believe that your professional net worth is equal to the sum of your personal brand plus your professional network. And that you build your brand on a daily basis by the actions you take and the words that you share, and that brand affects your ability to build your network. Did you know that you're hired for your network, for your brand, and that most people today don't maintain and nurture their golden Rolodex? Most salespeople's golden Rolodex is in their iPhone or their Android phone, and they don't have context or insights about who that person is, when they last spoke, or who they should be connecting to next. I believe that Nimble can be the intelligent relationship system for the modern business professional, and they could take it with them everywhere they work. And that is the future. Basically, wake up in the morning, go to sleep at night, nurturing your network and building your brand.
So why do salespeople fight CRMs? Because I've used some form of either a CRM or even precursors, just databases at companies since '97. And I've always embraced it because I saw the benefit, right? Rather than having Big Brother, being afraid that Big Brother was looking at me, I saw it as a way to put all my stuff in one basket and keep it organized. But most people fight it. Why do so many fight CRMs?
Because I think at the bottom line is that they don't do anything for you. In other words, before you meet with somebody, what do? You go Google them. You look them up. And then you go log what you know about them in the CRM. And then you go and engage with them on whatever channel is most effective for that person. In many cases, that's email. And then you go log that in the CRM. And then you analyze the history of conversation and who that person is to decide when you should follow up and what you might talk about, and you log that in the CRM. But you have to go to the CRM to do all of that, but you're really living in email and now your social channels where you're engaging with your customer. And so it's too much work to have to go to the CRM and update it, log records, and create records. And I think that's the biggest pain, is that you have to go build all that stuff. I think a relationship manager should be smart enough to automatically build a record for you. So if you put in Wes Schaefer, it automatically builds a record that maps out your profiles from all the different places they are: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram, Foursquare, Google+, and brings down the data of who you are, keeps it up to date on a daily basis, logs every conversation that you have with me or my team, and then I could walk in your digital footprint and add value to your conversation. This is the modern digital way of engaging the new social buyer in the new customer journey, because they're not listening to our marketing material. They're not talking to our salespeople. The new buyer is doing homework amongst themselves, having conversations with their peers, listening to experts, and then making buying decisions on their own. And you need to participate in that journey by being a trusted advisor and adding value to their journey by teaching and inspiring them. So when they do make a buying decision, they think of you, the expert. And the CRM of today doesn't do any of that. Right. It's a database that you type in who they are, what you did, and what you should do next, and what the opportunity is. But ultimately, to intelligently engage, you need to be more nimble.
Ah, look at that. So obviously, you might be a little biased, but what should entrepreneurs, small business owners, salespeople, what should they be looking for? Because it's I've been in this space, actively really since 2007 as a trainer on CRMs. I helped when they deployed Salesforce.com. So you talk about 225 million businesses, 1% have a CRM. I mean, Dell as recently as 2007 was literally running their business on DOS and, Excel spreadsheets and Outlook. And they were whatever, umpteen billion-dollar company. So even big companies don't know how to properly use a CRM. But how can a small guy, how do they ever get started, right? Because they're so busy just keeping the engine running. And then how do they pick a CRM? How do they learn a CRM? How do they optimize it so it actually makes them money rather than just suck $10 or $50 or $5,000 a month out of their bank account?
Well, Wes, I think the biggest problem with most people's CRM adoption is they buy it because they think they need it, but they don't really think about what they're going to use it for. And so I think you should start with any journey with where you want to be, what you want to get out of it, and then pick something that helps you get there. And so I believe the biggest problem with CRM is people think it's for salespeople. It's not. That really, it's not just salespeople that touch the customer. Everybody in the company participates in the customer journey: sales, marketing, product, customer service, C-level people, accounting. And so every company needs a platform that enables all of them to be on one page with the customer. So no matter who picks up the phone, you can see who you're talking to, what's pending, who's going to do it, what's been done, who's done it, and have all communication and interactions in one place. Today, we all live in Outlook, Address Book, or Google Contacts. Which one do you live in?
I use, a couple of things. I do use Google Labs or whatever, the commercial version of Google. I don't use their contacts. I've used Infusionsoft heavily for 6 years now, so I keep most things there.
So basically, you're using Google Mail and Google Cal.
Yes.
Okay. So if you bring up Google Contact in Google Mail and Google Cal, you don't see any of the emails or the calendar activities that you've had, let alone your team has had. The contacts in Google Contacts are not shared amongst the team. And so you, at the heart of your business, don't have contact, calendar, and communication integrated. So if you bring up the Jon Ferrara record, you can see every communication, every activity that you and your team have had with him. You don't have that in your business today. So that, to me, is the core of relationship management. Goldmine solved that 30 years ago. Then what we did is we layered on top of that the ability to do nurture marketing, which is actions based on trigger that says if you put a name in the database that looks like this, then do that. And then you nurture them over time to basically stay top of mind so when they make a buying decision, they're thinking of you. And so if you're going to start out with a CRM, figure out why you want to do it, right? So what are you going to use it for? Hopefully you're building it so that everybody in the company is on one page with the customer. So once you have that, make sure you buy a CRM that integrates contact, calendar, communication. That's the heart of your business. Then on top of that, you want to be able to have good data segmentation and then be able to put them on drip tracks to stay top of mind, because Mae West said, out of sight is out of mind and out of mind is out of money, honey. And you want to make sure that you're top of mind when that customer makes a buying decision. You can't be top of mind by marketing to them about how great you are. You should be teaching them how they can be great. And I tell people, if you teach people to fish, they'll figure out you sell fishing poles. So teach them to fish on a daily basis. And you do that with effective content and drip marketing. And then when they are lead scored, where they're ready to make, where they're qualified to engage, make sure that you engage with them in a relevant and authentic way. Don't pound on them. Don't try to bag them and tag them. Help them to grow by serving them. Because Zig Ziglar said, the more people you serve, the more your business will grow. And so I think that a lot of salespeople go out the sales process with, how fast can I get this guy closed? I think we all need to look at it and say, what can I do to help this person grow their business? And so for me, I think most people go into buying a CRM, they don't really know what they want, why they're buying it. I think they're just doing it because everybody else is doing it. And in most cases, you don't get adoption from the salespeople. The reason they call it Salesforce is you have to force people to use it. And so you tell me how many sales reps like to go log notes and calls and create records and type in stuff that they just got done Googling of who that guy is. I think all of that should be done by a computer. That's why we built Nimble. It automatically builds the record, maps their profiles of all their social backgrounds, brings down the data for data segmentation, automatically records the email, calendar, and social interactions, and then intelligently mines that information to help you connect to the right customer at the right time, on the right channel, with the right message in an authentic and relevant way. And that will help build your gold mine.
So you're pulling people in automatically.
Yeah.
But they haven't yet opted in. So I guess within the platform, there's a way, because if you want to do a broadcast email, of course, you don't want to get in trouble.
Right.
So I guess there's a way somewhere in there to begin like a one-on-one engagement and then somehow get them to opt in.
Well, in many cases, you don't have somebody's email if they're basically just being pulled in from the social river. Think about the social river as conversations that are going by your office digitally on a daily basis.
Yep.
How many conversations are occurring out in the social river on a daily basis, Wes? What do you think?
A quadrillion.
A quadrillion, right? And so if you wanted to fish in the social river, you need bait, right? And so ideally, what you're dropping lures in the water is bait, is content that inspires and educates your customers. I call that the 5 E's of social business. Educate, enchant, engage, embrace, and empower your customer. And you do that by giving your knowledge away. So if you're selling, let's say, you're selling sales and marketing and business automation systems, you'd basically on a daily basis share content that inspires and educates people about the promise of your products, how they can grow their business, how they can improve the sales process, how they can market more effectively. And if people are interested in that, they'll bite on that content. Plus one, like, retweet, or otherwise engage with you. If you're smart, you then reel in the ones that are qualified and begin to engage them in an intelligent and authentic way. And eventually, those people give you permission by go sign up for a webinar, sign up for an ebook, or somehow opting in to one of the different platforms or landing pages that you've created, because people love your content, you're teaching them to fish, and then eventually they figure out that you actually sell the fishing pole. So that's the new buyer journey. Is basically, don't yell at people how great you are. You teach them to be great by inspiring and educating them. And you do that with content. And then what you do is you need to, when people bite on that content, you need to layer intelligence on top of that bite and see if they are people that are relevant to you. And then you reel them in and you begin to have conversations with them. That's what Nimble helps you do.
Well, if you can get too drunk to fish, you might be a redneck.
Are you talking about ice fishing, or are you talking about bass fishing?
So I went to the Air Force Academy and we just whooped Navy. Finally, after several years, we've had a little down spot, But anyway, we had this competition and they challenged us to this ice fishing contest, and we were crushing them, right? And then one of their guys snuck over to see how we were doing it. And he went back and he told his fellow Naval Academy peers, he says, they cut a hole in the ice. Yeah, baby. Now we got to beat Army. Get the Commander-in-Chief's trophy back. But anyway, I digress. All right, so you got this cool tool that does all this cool stuff. But, how do people even learn this in the beginning, right? Because when 6 years now, I've been doing a lot with Infusionsoft and trying to have this conversation with prospects. And even when people kind of see the vision, it's hard to get them started. They don't have a marketing, nurturing, automation mindset, right? They do overcomplicate it, but there are some intricate little steps here and there. The devil is in the details. How can people even just start to think that way and to begin down that path?
Well, Wes, I like to tell stories. It's really easy. Here's a story. Let's say you go into a business function and there's like 100 people in the room, and you want to basically build your brand within this room. You don't go in the room and start yelling, "Hey, anybody want to buy some Infusionsoft software? I'll help you market your business," right? They'll just look at you and say, "Who the heck's that guy?" But if you walk into the room and you look around and you identify somebody that you might want to reach out and connect to, and you go stand adjacent to them and start listening to their conversation and adding value to that conversation, eventually they look over at you and go, "Well, gee, Wes, you seem to know a lot about growing business and marketing. What do you do?" And then you go, "Well, I just happen to be a consultant in that area. Here's my card." And So that's the same thing with social. You start by listening and then adding value to the conversation. Every single business person you sell to, Wes, is in business because they're pretty good at doing whatever they did to get in business. Every morning, most business people wake up and read more stuff about how to improve, and they get more knowledge. Imagine if every day they just started sharing that stuff, curating other people's content on a daily basis, and then engaging with people that bite on that. So I'd start, if I was a business person today and I wanted to build my brand, grow my network, and build my business, I'd create a good identity on all the networks that are relevant for my customer base. So that probably means Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn at a minimum, Google+. I'd put a good picture on there, a good bio, links to a decent website, and I would then start sharing content on a daily basis on those sites. I recommend that most business people should probably share at least 3, if not 10 pieces of good content on most of their identities on a daily basis, and then use a system to monitor the people that are connecting with you about that content and start having conversations with people. And it's easy once you get started to be able to start swimming in that social river.
Very cool. Well, I look forward to the day when you finally get a good picture up on all of those, okay? Oh, that wasn't nice. It's a Monday. Man, I'm fired up today. All right. It must be that New York in you, man. It brought it out of me. Oh, pow, pow.
You know what?
Oh, go ahead.
I want to tell you something about Nimble Everywhere.
Okay.
I believe that most sales reps have a golden Rolodex, and this is their key thing to their professional net worth. Most people's golden Rolodex is in their phone. Imagine if you were able to put it in Nimble and bring it everywhere you work. So do you think most sales reps put all their contacts in the company CRM?
I'll tell you a story about that. A good friend of mine, we've played sport. Our kids have played sports together. I coached baseball with her husband, and she's in sales. And I won't mention the company, but it's a very big company. And we were kind of talking about what I do and whatever. And she mentioned they do have Salesforce.com, and she said she only puts the minimum in there. She keeps everything in her phone because it's a competitive industry. She has changed jobs more than once, and she knows that's her gold, right? It's her golden Rolodex, and she won't share it with her own employer.
It's her gold mine.
Yep.
And in order to be effective, you need to be nimble with your gold mine and take it with you to work.
Yep.
So if you put your professional network inside of Nimble, you could use it inside Salesforce and basically click a lead, and you will see all the relationships you have with that person if they're in your Nimble system. If they're not in Nimble system, you could put it in Nimble. We'll map their background and enable them to walk in their digital footprint and begin to connect in a relevant and authentic way. And so basically, Nimble works inside Gmail, Outlook, Salesforce, any browser app, any place you're browsing, Instagram, AngelList, Crunchbase, and you can now take it with you in your browser, on your phone, in your CRM, adding value to your business workflow. So Nimble can be enough CRM for a solopreneur and small team of, say, 2 to 25, or we could add value with sales intelligence and customer engagement, relationship management everywhere you work.
So I take it you have some type of free trial or something, right? Or do you have any kind of goodies our listeners could plug into?
Oh, we do, yeah. First off, I would encourage all your listeners to follow Nimble on Twitter, NIMBLE, or myself, Jon, JON _ FERRARA. On a daily basis, what we do is we teach and inspire and help you grow your brand and your business. Then sign up for Nimble at nimble.com. That's NIMBLE, like Jack B, Nimble. And sign up for our trial. It's 2 weeks for free, no credit card required. And sign up for one of our webinars, because on a weekly basis, what we do is we get up there and we give you the basics of how you could build your brand, grow your network, and grow your business the Nimble way.
Very cool. All right. Well, I thank you, sir. I'm going to have to go back and listen to this in slow speed. All right. Just one thing, though. What were the 5 E's? Can you give me those again? Educate and enchant?
Sure. So if you imagine the new buyer journey, they're not reading our marketing materials. They're not talking to our salespeople. They're having conversations amongst themselves, and they're making a buying decision and then yelling it back at the company in whatever channel they want, to whatever department they want, and they expect an authentic and relevant response. So the businesses of today need to inspire and educate their customers so that they're top of mind when they're making these buying decisions. And you just got to remember the 5 E's of social business. Educate, enchant, engage, embrace, and empower your customer. And you educate them with enchanting content that inspires them and educates them about how they can grow. And then you engage them in conversations, and then you help them grow their business. So those are my 5 E's, and I got 3 C's for you. I got a bonus one.
Bonus. For everyone that stayed to the end, the 3C bonus.
It's content, conversation, and community. Because ultimately, if you share the right content and engage in the right conversation, you can build a community around your business that can help it grow. And I'm saying community because it's not just prospects and customers that you need to nurture in order to grow your business. For instance, in my business, I've got editors, analysts, bloggers, influencers, third-party developers, VARs, and investors. That's a huge community. And in order to connect with them intelligently, you need to have a platform that automagically builds records, maintains the information, and helps you to intelligently engage to grow your business.
All right. I was about to wrap this up, but this brings up another question. Because, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, and I do my best to do what you're saying. But it's work, how, and everybody says this, and it's true, listen first, right? Don't just jump into the party and start blabbing. But I mean, how does this restless, instant gratification entrepreneur that needs cash flow really get started? I mean, is it just like, hey, it's going to take time, so you might as well start now and start doing it right? Because, nobody wants to post 10 times a day, or they say I don't have time for it, or it's inefficient. I'm too busy keeping the lights on to add one more thing to my constantly never-ending to-do list. So, I mean, is it just basically suck it up and get going?
It takes me about 20 minutes per day to curate enough content for the week.
Wow.
And I used to use a tool called Zite, Z-I-T-E, on my iPad. And what Zite does is it looks at the content that I'm already sharing and finds me more content like that. There's a number of tools that'll do things like that. Heck, if you just sign up for a buffer account, it'll automatically feed you some content that you could start sharing that's relevant. But ultimately, it's not that hard to find content and start sharing it. But think about it this way, Wes. Dividend investing, right?
Yep.
It's dividend investing. So if you invested if you invested $100 when you were 5 years old versus $100 when you're 30, when you're 60, what's that going to look like? So basically, it takes time to build up that community and build your brand. But if you start today, you're going to be a lot further on a year from now than if you wait. And Wes, as much as you think that this whole social and engagement and branding stuff is everywhere you look, it's just that you live in this tech social Kool-Aid drinking coast. Out there in the middle of America, people are still trying to figure this out. And this is just the first wave of a huge change of the way customers make buying decisions and companies will engage them. If your listeners are listening to me now, today, go and build your brand, your profiles on all the key places, and update just the picture in the bio so it's relevant and business-like, where people can see your face. That's a start. And then just start listening. You don't have to post anything, but listen to your peers in your industry and see what they're sharing and who they're sharing it with, and then basically jump in. And I'll give you one more story. You remember that thing that the girls used to play on the playground? What's that thing? That jump rope? The thing where two people stand with the rope and they swing it? What do you call that?
You mean is that like outside physical activity?
Yeah. You know that thing where you two people stand with the rope and they turn
I'm gonna have to maybe pull up an old Leave It to Beaver episode. Hold on a second. I'm gonna see if it's on YouTube.
All right, but basically, there's a game when I was a kid that the girls used to play hopscotch or I don't know what it was, but basically it's a rope where you just spin the rope in a circle, and then you have to wait your turn, and then you jump into the rope and you start hopping. You remember that game?
Of course.
Okay. So basically, socials like that. So you just don't go run in and jump in and start, and you're going to trip on the rope. So what you need to do is you need to go stand next to it, and you need to wait your time in, and then start adding stuff to it. And so it's not that hard to start by updating your bio and a picture. How many LinkedIn contact records have you come across that don't even have a picture on it, let alone a bio? It's not that hard to basically do the basics. And John Wooden said it's the basics that wins games. And so do the basics, build your profiles, begin to listen to people in your community, start adding value, sharing content, and then respond and engage to people. So if somebody says, thanks for sharing my content, engage with them. If somebody retweets or plus ones it, engage with them. But the cool thing that Nimble does, Wes, is it will listen to your signals, the people that are connecting with you on your email and your calendar and your social, layer intelligence on top and surface the ones that matter based off of the DNA of people you connected to before, like Pandora. So Nimble will surface your top 10 engagement opportunities on a daily basis and send you an email, and we have it in the Today page. So it actually helps you with some of that work.
Right. Very cool. So, in other words, just get started. You got to do it.
Well, a journey starts with a step.
Yep.
And if you start taking that step by updating your profiles, your identities, and then you start listening to others, and then figuring out what kind of content you can share, you can do it. Wes, imagine me. I sold gold mine in 1999. I spent 8 years raising 3 babies. I was out of the tech marketplace for nearly 10 years. And I basically had to come back to the tech marketplace, build my brand, build the Nimble brand in a global environment that had radically changed. How did I do that? I didn't spend a dime on marketing. All I did is I identified the influencers of my core community in and around the areas of promise of my product, sales, marketing, social media, social business, and I started having conversation with them, sharing their content, and then engaging with people. Eventually, that built my brand and the Nimble brand. We get 70,000 unique visitors per month on our website with no marketing spend. We're converting up to 10% to trial and 25% to paid with no salespeople. That is an incredible model, and all of it is built with content, conversation, and storytelling, where we're turning our customers into our evangelists, our salespeople, our marketers, and even our support people.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a great story. Thank you for sharing it.
You bet. Thank you for allowing me to get up on my soapbox and share some of my social sermon about how people can grow their business the Nimble way. I love to teach and inspire other people, and I feed on that. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, I can tell. It shows. Thank you, sir. Have a great week, and I will be following your content and your conversation online.
Awesome.
All right, man. Take care.
Thank you.
Isn't it cool hearing from somebody that's been there and done that? This is a guy that's been in business for nearly 30 years. He's out there mixing it up. He got started with $5,000 in his apartment. That's what I love hearing. So he's been doing this through several booms, through several busts. And he sees another opportunity, and he's coming in and making it happen. Being in sales his whole life, I appreciate how he still focused on making a good product instead of just focusing on the sales. I love hearing how he, timing was a little bit important, obviously, catching on with Mark Cuban. You can't forecast or predict you're going to network and connect with somebody like that, but hey, get out in the mix, right? Make things happen. And it's funny how much opportunity and luck comes to those that are prepared and making stuff happen. I love we talked about data decay is like fish, right? I've made videos and blog posts talking about how the CRM is dead. And what I mean by that is the traditional static CRM that just sits there and holds data. That does you virtually no good. You've got to plug it into something else. That's why we saw Salesforce back in June of 2013 spent $1.2 billion to buy ExactTarget, which is a big email and marketing platform. And the year before that, in 2012, ExactTarget bought Pardot, which is a marketing automation engine and workflow automation engine. So even Salesforce, the 800-pound gorilla in the CRM software as a service space, recognizes that it's not enough to just have big data sitting there in the cloud. You've got to be able to take action on it, and you've got to market and nurture and drip on people. It's got to be sequential. It needs to be multimedia, multi-step to really make something happen. Okay. Otherwise, you just have data sitting in the sky and it's decaying like stinky fish. I loved his 5 E's. We talked about educate, enchant, engage, embrace, empower. Those are big. Go back and listen. Go visit, you can follow this. Look at the links in the notes at thesaleswhisper.com/Jon, and it's Jon Ferrara. It's Ferrara. So check him out. The 97th episode of the Sales Podcast. You can see the notes there where he talked about, giving your knowledge away. Don't pound on people. Start by listening. Start by having conversations. So get out there and make some things happen, okay? Once you begin connecting, if you need help with sales, please check out 30daysalesgrowth.com. Put in the word podcast for a promo code and save $30. Makes a great stocking stuffer. And if you're listening to this in January, it makes a great New Year's Day motivational Kickstarter thing. If you're listening to it in February, it's better than chocolate because it's fat-free. If you're listening to it in March, it's not as good as beer, but it can go with beer on St. Patrick's Day and the rest of the year. You get the point. So it's 30daysalesgrowth.com. As usual, I thank you for listening. Please visit the website, show a little love, make some comments. And as always, remember to sell different.